Alright, now let's move into some of the lead ideas from the playing of Johnny Guitar Watson. Again, this is my interpretation, this is me listening to this music and trying to figure it out and sharing with you the ideas that I've picked up. Things that I think you could incorporate into any songs that you play, if you're playing traditional blues or even more modern stuff or whatever. So let's start out with the double stops. Now again, Johnny Guitar Watson uses a capo, and he does that so he can play out of the first position E. And if you listen to the playing of guys like Jimmie Rodgers on the chess recordings, and even some Eddie Taylor playing behind Jimmy Reed, a lot of guys use that E position. And so Johnny Guitar Watson used the position, but he moved it around on the fretboard by using the capo, so he can play in different keys. The signature double stop is this one. I'll play it for you and then I'll break it down. It's really pretty simple, but you can do it a lot of different ways. And that is what I'm sliding with on the second string, but I've got an open first string, which I can do in the key of E, out of that E position. Lightning Hopkins would do that kind of thing a lot. So, with the capo, with the 5th fret, we're playing in the key of A. We are going to the 5th fret, and I'm sliding either from the 4th fret, or even the 3rd, or even higher sometimes. You can get different sounds depending on where you start the slide, but I'm just going to keep it simple from the 4th fret, 1 fret down. And I'm hitting that second string, but I'm also letting the first string, which is an A now, ring open. And then out of that position, he would do all kinds of stuff, and you can listen and pick this up. There's a song called Too Tired where he opens up with that. Something like that. I can't remember the exact song there, but that's what he's playing. And a lot of guys, when you hear him play something like that, you just hear the one string. And that's what makes this cool. It's much more full. Sorry, a little sloppy there, but that's a basic lick of his. Now some other double stop ideas. Another one that he did a lot, which is really like a Chuck Berry type thing, but he again is playing it out of this first position E shape, where he's bending up, and that is a cool lick. He's bending on the 3rd string at the 2nd fret, which is our blue note, and then he's letting the 1st and 2nd strings ring open. You hear him play stuff like that all the time. Throwing the two licks together. So forth. And then, another double stop you hear him play a lot, which is another typical electric blues, even rock and roll type double stop, is this. And that's just out of the first position E. I'm using my ring finger and my 2nd finger. My ring finger is on the 1st string, 3rd fret, and my 2nd finger is on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. The one nice thing about playing in that first position E is you can just let it ring open. Hit those strings and then open. Whoops. Something like that, or more like that for Johnny Guitar Watson. So, we've got this double stop, and then we have so the double stop type things, and those are basically the ones he uses the most. Now another way he uses the double stops is in that first position E, hammering down on the first fret of the third string. And you hear that in, there's a tune called 3 Hours Past Midnight, which is one of his classics, where he does a really neat intro solo type thing. I'm going to show that to you, just give you an idea of what you can do out of that first position E. Or, so what I'm doing, leading into it, going on the second fret of the fifth string to the fourth fret, to the second fret of the fourth string. Then I'm hammering down on the first fret of the third string with the second string open. So you hear that open. And then I'm coming down on the second fret of the, fourth string. Again. And then I'm doing a double stop slide on the second and third strings from the third fret to the second fret, which is just, I'm using my ring finger and my second finger. Then back again. This time I'm going and letting that fourth string open, which you hear a lot. You hear Johnny Guitar Watson do stuff like that all the time. Letting that ring like that. So again. And that's in a slower tune. That's a neat double stop thing that you can do in the Johnny Guitar Watson style. Now, as far as single string runs go, there's some cool ideas that he has. A lot of times you hear him just playing either in the first position E, basic blues box scale, or the second blues box, which is where he plays a lot of his high note stuff in his solos. So in the first position, we get a lot of his fills and a lot of his solo licks, something like this. So what he's doing, in the absence of the first finger barring things off, he is just bending up on the third string at the second fret with an open second string and an open first string. And then coming down on the third fret of the second string. That's a good way to get started. Just play that little lick right there. A lot of open strings involved. Then you can add strings to it. Going to the second fret of the first string, open. Again, open string. And a lot of his single string stuff, you'll hear him playing that third string at the second fret. And he'll bend it, pull off it, he'll do all kinds of stuff. And he'll sometimes, and that is a lick where he's hammering on the third string, first fret, going to the second fret of the fourth string, to the second fret of the fifth string. So, or he'll do it with the open fourth string. Something like that. He might play. All kinds of variations. Basically, you're putting together a puzzle. You're taking all these licks and putting them together creatively to come up with a solo. Now, when he goes to that high note, he plays stuff like this. And that is just like you were playing in E. I'm coming down to the fifth fret of the second string, and I'm going to the third fret and the 5th fret of the 1st string. Basically, it's a blues box going 3rd fret, 5th fret, 2nd string, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 1st string. I can do that, and there's also some other notes that I'll show you. But he does a lot of variations. He might hold that first bend. Something like that. Bend it, hold it different ways, pressure on, pressure off. A lot of times he'll play in that part. And then I'll come back up to that first blues box up here. So that's really his style. And you can listen to it and figure out the different notes he plays, the different patterns. It's really not that hard, but that's what he's doing.